Steve Post from Motor Racing Network here at the Racing Electronics display. We love talking to drivers, and sometimes we get a chance to talk to brothers and crew chiefs. Peyton Sellers is a two-time NASCAR national champion, just picked up another championship at South Boston Speedway. Peyton's under the weather, but his brother and crew chief HC joins us here in the booth. HC, how are you, man?
Good, Steve. How are you doing today?
Doing really, really good. Okay, I'm going to go with the same off-the-wall question I was going to have for Peyton. Okay, on the hood of your car is one of my favorite places on the planet, Clarence's Steakhouse, just down the road from Martinsville Speedway. What's your go-to meal at Clarence's Steakhouse?
I mean, for me, it's the filet and French fries. I think that's a good meal. But I like his salads. I like his sweet tea, especially. He's got some good Southern sweet tea. You just can't go wrong at Clarence's, no matter what you get.
No, you cannot. Clarence's is one of those have-to stuff. Literally, Ricky Craven won a pole position back when we qualified on a Friday. He won a pole position at Martinsville. He got done with all the ceremonies and everything like that. And Dale Earnhardt saw him in the motor coach lot or wherever they were hanging out. And Ricky's like, "And what are you doing now?" And Ricky's like, "I'm just going to go over to the bus and get something to eat." And Dale's like, No. You win the pole at Martinsville, you got to go to Clarence's and have some. It's really neat because Clarence Pickrell has been involved in the sport for so long. It's got an iconic restaurant, but he's been an iconic partner for you guys. But he's been so big for years in that sport.
He absolutely has. We had a special get-together with him a few weeks ago, and all the drivers that had driven for him were there, and we had a little reunion. Peyton was there, and a lot of the guys that even date back to the Paul Radford and Satch Worley days. Jimmy Hensley was there. Speaking of Martinsville poles, you know, he had a pretty iconic day with subbing for Dale Earnhardt that day, and Jimmy was up there. And Clarence has just meant a lot to the sport in general, much less like, you know, with just the steakhouse and everything, but the racing. We actually found some things from a racetrack back in the 50s where Clarence had some pit passes that my family was involved with back then, and had Wendell Scott and Clarence Pickrell's name on pit passes from back in that time, and that just give us a little bit of a sense of like, wow, this guy, you know, he's been around literally as long as NASCAR has, and it's been very interesting to be a part of that, very much a blessing to be a part of that. Clarence has given us a big opportunity, give Peyton a big opportunity with his racing career, and a lot of boost comes along when a guy like that has confidence in you and your team.
No doubt about it. Let's talk a little bit about your team, your family team. You and I were actually talking about racing as kids, and racing's been a good thing, but you got the addiction. You've been crew chief for your brother. You guys have 2 national championships, won another South Boston championship. What's the journey been like for you as a mechanic, as a crew chief, as you guys have evolved this into probably the powerhouse late model stock team in the eastern part of the country?
Well, I always look at it like, you know, we can always be better. We're not always where we want to be, but we've been very blessed when you look back, and, you know, there's been some opportunities and some years that's happened to us that things have went extremely well. I don't take that for granted. You know, I've been able to be a part of 4 national championships as a crew chief with 3 different drivers, and us winning them with Peyton has been special, with my dad owning the team, and then obviously spotting for us as well is pretty cool, you know, and him having the health to be able to continue to do that right now has been a blessing to us and our family. The race team is just something that, you know, as a kid, when my dad bought Peyton and I a go-kart when I was 12 and Peyton was 7, that day was the time I knew what I wanted to do for a living, and we were blessed to have support with that. We were blessed to be able to race on weekends when, you know, other kids were off doing who knows what, and kept us out of trouble. And, you know, just the race team now is a product of a lot of hard work and people that's been supportive of us through the years, and I'm just super thankful for that.
HC, late model stock racing is at a real interesting spot in the Carolinas, Virginia. We have the Cars Tour that's the shiny new toy, and they do a great job with it. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, and that group, they do a great job with it. You get your home tracks like South Boston and Florence Motor Speedway and places like that. You've got the Virginia Triple Crown. How do you guys navigate that as to where you're going to focus? Is it, you're a 2-time NASCAR champion, is that kind of where the focus is for you guys in general, as to how best to run for a track championship, or how best to run maybe for the national championship, or how do you just navigate what's become, there's a number of opportunities there in that?
Yeah, for us, the national championship's always been pretty special. We've had a lot of times. Barry Begley was a neighbor of ours that won a national title in 1993, and that was a time when Peyton and I were growing up, and that was a really cool thing. And when we had a chance to finally accomplish that goal in 2005, it was, if you've been to the banquet that year was at the Aubreyland Hotel in Nashville, and we had an opportunity to be a part of that for the first time. And the way NASCAR does and treats you through all that, if you've ever experienced it, and I know guys like Connor Hall have known that, Lee Pulliam and Philip Morris, guys that I've worked with and had a chance, these guys have experienced this as well. And when they see it and experience it, it makes you want to do it again. And the Cars Tour now is getting the notoriety of, the opportunity. In my mind, it's a great touring series. It's a great opportunity for young kids to get involved and try to move up and have the exposure necessary. I think either one of them hold the same amount of prestige in my mind. I think it, for us as a team, when we determine what we're going to try to pursue in a year, it's got to do with sponsorship. It's got to do with family goals, team goals, or what that driver wants to pursue. That changes every year. But I'd say all in all, we're very blessed to have the same type race car that can pursue a national title or a Cars Tour championship. Either one of those, in my mind, have a lot of prestige and a lot of notoriety for your race team.
Well said, that is for sure. I love my late model stock racing. HC, I appreciate you filling in for your brother here. Always good to catch up with you, and just appreciate your time joining us here at the Racing Electronics Display.
Absolutely, Steve. I appreciate you, appreciate your time and what you dedicate to the sport. We're very blessed to have you a part of this racing family, and I appreciate everything that happens here, and hopefully have a good rest of the show.
Absolutely, we will, that's for sure. H.C. Sellers, crew chief, brother for Peyton Sellers, joining us here at the Racing Electronics Display at PRI.